Hello everyone, this is Marilyn from LemLedger, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to use ActiveTrack to show agency proof of work. And this video is for freelancers and agencies who struggle to show clients that work was actually done. Sometimes you can actually spend hours working, but the client only sees the final result and not the effort behind it. So now tools like ActiveTrack help track activity. However, even though these kind of tools help track activity and show clients that work was done, showing clear proof to clients that work was actually done can still be a bit difficult. However, tools like ActiveTrack help lessen the difficulty. So here I am inside ActiveTrack, and ActiveTrack helps you and it lets you track time, activity, and productivity across different tasks. You can see dashboards, reports, and activity logs showing what work was actually done. So as you can see on this left panel here, you have an admin panel and you have an organization view, team management, activity dashboard right here, and you're just able to see real-time visibility of what was actually done. You can see productivity per user, productivity trends. You're able to see application usage, web usage. So ActiveTrack really gives you this holistic overall view of activity logs, productivity reports, and real-time dashboards. And we can go down here, and it also gives you these executive summaries. You can see the workforce utilization, the technology utilization, what apps were actually used, what tech was actually used. You can also do workforce management here, productivity by user, look at productivity trends as well. And a dashboard of ActiveTrack would look something like this. For example, if there are workers here, employees here, you're able to see what work or what tools they kept using. So you can see top users and groups. A dashboard on ActiveTrack would probably look something like this. You can see productivity by day, you can see top users and groups, and you can see each user by the work and by the tool that they were using to work. Also, on the team management side, here, team management, right here. A team management dashboard would probably look something like this, where a manager or an employer is able to see the activity, the productivity, and top categories that were used by each of the different employees. You can see the team trends over a period of different days or a period of months, and also can see the productivity trends as well. And you can also see if the goals were actually achieved and how much the team is actually putting in, and if that input is actually showing work or is actually making an output. Yeah. So I'm now going to show you, for example, working on a real client task. Maybe if a client's task is writing or content editing, ActiveTrack automatically records the apps and how can automatically record the apps that were used, and also can show how long I can spend on each and every app. So a dashboard like that would also look something like this. For example, Michael, you could see that he used Slack, and you can probably come and see here and see how long he used Slack for. So you can see 50 hours and 3 minutes. So you can see that it automatically tracks these times. So if I was going to work on content writing or editing or designing, ActiveTrack would automatically track or record the apps that I'm using, and the client would be able to see that, okay, Marilyn did this. She was using Slack for this much time. So ActiveTrack would automatically just track that kind of data. Now, another thing that ActiveTrack does is that It shows activity logs, screenshots, and productivity reports. This helps confirm that work actually happened. You see these executive summaries, those are the ones that actually bring the proof of work to show that work actually happened. So under here, technologies utilization, you'd be able to see what work was actually done. Even here under technology and AI usage, the client is able to see the kind of apps and sites that were used, the screenshots that were taken from different activities. So screenshots and activity logs can show what work was actually done, and that's why ActiveTrack has this feature on here, which is technology and AI usage. So you can see the activity log over here, and under activity log, you're able to see the the time, the computer, the usage, the user, sorry, the duration, and just basically how long they were using this or how long they stayed on one particular activity. And so another thing that also ActiveTrack does is that it generates client ready reports. So, depending on maybe how much I've worked on a certain activity, I can also generate a report to show how much time I worked, what apps I used, and how productive that session was. Active track reports include active time, productive hours, and work summaries. So after doing all the work, logging in the work here under activity logs, you're able to actually generate these reports. And that comes down here to these executive summaries where the report is actually generated. So an active track report will probably look something like this. So you're able to see the the productivity sessions. You're able to see the weekly trend in goals and hours achieved, or weekly time trend, productivity, efficiency, and time breakdown pattern per day. So this is what the client is able to see from the active track reports. So these active track reports help the client to actually quickly have a quick view, analytics or summary of work that was done, the time that was spent in it, and how productive the employee was. However, the problem is that clients don't always understand this kind of reports, because in this report, they're only seeing numbers, logs, and screenshots. They're just seeing these analytics, efficiency levels, they're seeing weekly time trends, but they're not necessarily understanding how are my deliverables fitting here. Like, was the work that I wanted to be done actually done? See, that's the friction point when it comes here to active track. This kind of report probably needs a little bit more context. So it requires the employee to send messages, to call, and to text the client and tell them, oh, so basically, when I was doing this, I did this. So it's that constant back and forth with such kind of a report, because it's just not giving enough detail. They're not seeing the story and the work behind it. They're only seeing productivity hours and weekly trends. So they're not really understanding the work behind it or the story behind it. Now, this is where LemLedger comes in. Now, instead of showing just this kind of activity, LemLedger work helps prove work with context automatically, right? So we come here to LemLedger, and you can see just by design that LemLedger helps work be proved automatically. So, for example, an employee is maybe working with Sunny Marketing. They are able to show the kind of deliverable that they're going to do. Maybe they say, okay, I'm going to design a template, and this is the priority of this activity, and this is the due date, this is who has been assigned to it, this is the status of it, and then you're also able to write notes here for the client to see as well. So waiting on client feedback. So you can write notes here as well, and this just gives the client context of the work that was actually done, why it was done, and how progress happened. By showing this blocker status, by showing the status of the deliverable, the client is now able to see what work was done, why it was done, and how progress happened. So you don't need to constantly update the client on what is going on, why is it going on. There's not that constant back and forth. LemLedger removes that constant back and forth. And so yeah, so LemLedger has very many different uses as well. And LemLedger really does help to give an actual proof of work. With LemLedger, you can show proof of work in a clean and friendly way. You're able to schedule your day, you're able to show your blocked work, you're able to show your tasks, you're able to type in your tasks, you're able to assign your deliverables, and just give context of the work that you're actually doing. Now, ActiveTrack shows you activity, however, LemLedger shows you progress, and that means less back and forth with clients. If you'd like to know more about this kind of tools, um, click in the URL in the description box below. Thank you very much.